Good day everyone. With 2.3's special program having aired, we now know mostly what to expect from 2.3, so let's talk about it. Now because some people might only be interested in specific topics, I will divide the video into parts, first discussing the content being added into 2.3, the 2.3 artifacts, and then finally the 2.3 banners, and we'll leave chapters so that you can easily get to the subject which interests you. Starting off, if you thought last update was going to be filler, then I have some sad news. There is no new area this time around. The smaller events, like say the Misty Dungeon and Energy Amplification event and our good old Trading Buddy, are events we have essentially already done. And the big event this time around has us heading back to Dragonspine to do similar tasks to last Dragonspine event, and frankly look rather dull gameplay-wise. We are getting a new event where from the trailer it looked like we were kidnapping animals. We turned into bad people. But with that being said, of course there are some good things coming as well. We get to make a snowman, and probably will have to deal with endless Frozen references. Actually not looking forward to that at all, come to think of it. We have new banners and artifacts, which we shall get into later. We are getting a hangout with Albedo, which is awesome, and oh right, also Gorou. Sorry, I went from looking forward to joining the rebel scum to actively disliking any quest associated with the people of Watatsumi. People who talk about logic and reasoning and yet are anything but aggravate me, and I'll save you from the inevitable rant by moving on. And so while the Dragonspine event might not look very interesting gameplay-wise, it might be interesting story-wise. The trailer does have me quite interested in what is going to go down, but before we get overhyped, I do want to remind everyone what game we are playing. This is Genshin Impact, a game which in the year it has been out has been excellent at building things up, but not so great at the delivering. So this fight with Albedo may very well come out to be nothing at all. Hopefully not, as I am looking forward to learning more about him, but seeing what we have gotten so far, I'll try to keep myself looking forward to it without getting too excited. Getting into the artifacts, we can start with the more straightforward one, the Husk of Opulent Dreams. This set increases the character's defense by 30%, and then increases defense and geo damage bonus by another 6% per stack, up to 4 stacks, so a potential 54% defense increase and an additional 24% geo damage bonus. So a set for geo characters that scale off of defense. And that's really only for 4 characters. Noelle and Albedo for those already in the game, and Arataki Itto and Gorou for the new ones. And on top of this, the characters can gain stacks even when off-field, which is fantastic for, say, Albedo. The second artifact set, the Ocean-Hued Clam, is a little bit more difficult. This set essentially takes 90% of your total healing done, even overhealing, every 3.5 seconds and transfers that into likely physical damage, which cannot crit due to being similar to transformative elemental reactions, for a max of 27,000 damage. On paper, this sounds great, ignoring the potential possibility that it might stay where it spawns rather than follow you. But let's look at each healer at a time to see who might want to use it. For Sayu and Jean, you probably just want to use the Viridescent set, so I would pass on this for them. Barbara is a burst healer, so you wouldn't be able to dish out the constant healing this set needs in order to deal damage. Noelle would probably rather the other set from this domain, as the defense will not only increase her healing, but also her shield strength and damage, on top of that geo damage bonus, and she doesn't heal for insane amounts anyway. Diona is somewhat similar in that she is both a shield and healer type, and so because of that doesn't heal for incredibly high amounts, but probably could make more use out of this set than the other healers so far mentioned. Bennett stops healing at 70%, so probably a no for him as well, unless you're constantly taking damage, and so we are left with the characters that this set probably would make sense to use on, Chi-Chi and Kokomi. And I think this set would likely be great for both of them, but the bigger question is, will this set actually make them good? Starting with Chi-Chi, no. Sorry. But in my opinion, the reason Chi-Chi isn't good has nothing to do with the lack of damage she adds to the team, but rather her having an 80 energy cost burst while also having an elemental skill which generates 0 energy. This means that 1. you have to essentially run 2 batteries just for her if you want her constantly healing, which you need in order to deal damage with the set, but also means that she cannot be a battery for someone else. If you're using Ayaka or Eula, who wants a battery, are you going to use Chi-Chi, who generates nothing, or Diona, who is a fantastic cryo battery? So as Chi-Chi just has fundamental issues that this set does nothing to fix, I don't see it helping her position at all. For Kokomi, my opinion is similar, but less bad. If you are currently using Kokomi as an on-field DPS, then I think you shouldn't go wrong with this set, as it should add a decent bit more damage to her while being AoE at that. However, once again, I don't think Kokomi's biggest issue is the damage she brings to the team. What she provides the team is healing, some DPS, and Hydro application. And thus you can run 3 other possibly all DPS characters of your choosing, and that will make good use of that Hydro aura. My issue with Kokomi is the Hydro application. It's great against a single enemy, but against multiple enemies, she can only apply Hydro with her normals to 1 enemy at a time, and so to all the rest is only applying Hydro once every 2 seconds with her jellyfish, which is not at all enough when using, say, 3 other characters constantly applying different elements. As this set rather obviously does not help with that at all, the damage it deals would not make me use Kokomi in any situation I wouldn't currently, and thus I don't think changes all that much. So once again, a good set to go for if you are maining a Kokomi, but not a game changer, I don't think. Finally, with the artifacts out of the way, we can talk about the new banners. In the first half of 2.3, we have something Genshin has never seen before. Simultaneous rate-up character banners. Now there isn't anything real special here. They seem to operate in pretty much the same way they have before, where building pity in one carries over to the others, in this case, other. So the thing to note really is just that we now have 2 rerun banners at the same time, which if they continue to implement would mean potentially not having to wait as long for the reruns of characters we want, but would also mean you might not have as much time to save for said characters. Personally, a change I hope continues going forward, but one I'm not sure everyone will be pleased with. In the second half of 2.3, we'll be getting a new 5-star, Arataki Itto, a Geo Claymore, and a new 4-star Gorou, a Geo Bow user. Now we do not have their full kits and modifiers, so we can only speculate how good these characters will actually be from the information in this special program, so let's dive on into said speculations. But to start, I frankly do not see myself putting any wishes into this banner for one major reason and then a few smaller reasons. For the major reason, seeing as how Itto scales with defense, Albedo, who is an off-field Geo damage character which also scales off defense and has a banner this update, and Gorou seems to be a defense and Geo buffer. And as Geo both has no offensive reactions and is hard to buff, it seems like in order to make a truly great Itto team, you might also need Albedo, whom I do not have. And so, if that ends up being the case, I would have to pull for 2 5-stars in order to make one truly great team. Whereas I could instead use those wishes to pull for Kazuha on his rerun to make a truly great Ayaka team, and potentially Yaimiko, depending on what she does, to pair with Raiden to make a second truly great team. Instead of having one truly great team with Itto, Gorou, and Albedo, my current decent team for Ayaka and a not really sure what to do with Raiden. If I already had Albedo, this could be different, but as I do not, and with my luck would likely have to hit Soft Pity twice, it probably makes more sense for me to wait for those 2. As for the smaller reasons, for one, I have to say I am disappointed with his appearance. Most of it is honestly great, however, his arms are disappointing. It may be a weird thing to get caught up in, but even ignoring his character art and just looking at him in-game, it feels off. I think it's probably his coat that makes him look like he should have muscular arms, but when he instead has less muscle than me, it just ends up looking strange. In addition, his Oni form is kinda lame. I would have expected him to physically change, even if just slightly, turn him more red, make his horns more pronounced, or even just make his eyes glow or something. After seeing the Oni swordswoman in her Madden state from one of the Raiden trailers, I was expecting a bit more than just some geoparticle effects floating around. In terms of gameplay, he looks to me to be a less interesting Yanfei. To explain, they both have a stacking mechanic, which they gain through their normals, which increases their charge attack damage and either removes or reduces their stamina cost. They both have an elemental skill, which gives them stacks. In Yanfei's case, grants her max stacks, whereas Itto's grants 1 stack upon leaving and also upon getting hit, but how often is unknown. And is also very cute. I mean, just look at his little jig. But the major difference is that Itto's burst seems to give all of his normals the ability to generate stacks, whereas outside of it, only a few hits do. Whereas Yanfei gains a passive stack generation of every second. This tells me that Itto likely uses his skill at the start of battle to gain stacks, while switching to other characters to use their abilities, so that he can start his burst with stacks, use those stacks obtained at the beginning, and then alternate between full normal combos and his buffed charge stacks, which seems pretty static to me. Unlike Yanfei, who, thanks to her once a second stack generation, plays a bit differently, as you might actually have to be mindful of how many stacks she currently has, especially if you have to, say, dodge an attack and gain a stack during that period of time. So in terms of gameplay, not strength, just pure gameplay, he kind of seems like a dumbed down Yanfei. How much of this is true, however, we will of course have to wait until he actually releases to see. He might not even want to get to max stacks. You might just get 1 stack and then charge attack. But again, we don't currently know. For Gorou, he seems to be an even more specific Kujo Sara, but for Geo, as he gives a defense and a Geo damage increase, but also need 3 Geo team in order to give the Geo damage bonus. This means you need Albedo to make proper use of him, as the only other 2 are Noelle and Itto, who are both on-field characters. This team also could lead to some issues, but I want to wait until we actually get to see him in action before voicing any more thoughts on the matter. Of course, as he buffs Geo and defense, and I do not have Albedo, and do not plan on getting Itto, I probably won't pull for Gorou either, as I just wouldn't use him. And as I didn't notice any other core gameplay changes or anything, I believe we reached the end of the video. So what are you most pumped for in version 2.3? The new banners? More Albedo story? The animal rescue event? Or does it all just seem like filler, and the thing you are mostly looking forward to is activating your Millennium Eye to scry the contents of 2.4? Do let me know, along with anything else you'd like to tell me, down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again next time, and hope you all have a great day.